Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and the Beard. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, man. I hope y'all get to spend y'all time with y'all families. Get your grub on, because I know that's exactly what I'm going to be doing, man. Welcome to the best television show not on TV. We got a couple NFC East matchups. The Bills are going to be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Washington Commanders are going to be taking on the red-hot Dallas Cowboys. Two of the worst teams in the NFL get to face off. Two of the worst offenses in the entire league. The Patriots are headed to MetLife to take on the New York Giants. And then we'll do a quick pick'em vibe for the Packers at Lions, the 49ers at the Seahawks. And we got a Black Friday football game for the first time in the history of the league. The Dolphins are going to be taking on the Jets. So we got a couple of games to go through. We appreciate everybody spending y'all Thanksgiving with us. Shout out to the gang that was in the chat bright and early. Without further ado, let me bring on the best co-host in the country, the strong side to the left side, strong side duo, my brother from another mother. Shout out to my Dukes one time in the building. And he's rocking his Beat Dallas t-shirt. He is ready for a W today. What's going on, Beard?
It feels so much better to be in this color than that blue I was wearing for most of the show.
Shout out Chris Peace, man.
Yeah, big shout out to Chris Peace. That last show was epic. A lot of fun, a lot of good vibes in the chat. We appreciate each and every one of you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. This is a time just to, I feel like, get away from like just everything and just reflect and be grateful for, the small things in life. Be grateful for those that we have. I'm super grateful that I have Awthentik, my brother right here. You know what I'm saying? Would not have it any other way. So big shout out to everybody in the chat. Big shout out to everybody who is watching us across all the platforms, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and of course right here on the YouTubes. It's going to be a great day of football. Great. The games might seem a little, the spreads are a little crazy. This doesn't look like a lot of close matchups, but you get three division games. All three games are division games. So, like that kind of, you could put some of the spreads out the window, but it's also a very fun day for DraftKings. You get to put together lineups for fantasy for just 3 games. It's a lot of fun. So I love Thanksgiving football. I watched a little bit of the Barry Sanders documentary last night to get me in the Thanksgiving football mood. So I'm looking forward to it.
Smart move. I definitely need to catch up on that one time.
Yeah. Monique likes my shirt.
She's going to use it to wipe the bottom of her cleats today. Big shout out to Monique in the building one time. I'm definitely going with those Cowboys. That's going to be an interesting one. But let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills headed to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. All right, man, I'm definitely looking forward to this matchup because although the Philadelphia Eagles have a major winning streak against teams with over a 500 record, I think this is another good test for them going up against the 6-5 Buffalo Bills, the surprising 6-5 Buffalo Bills. Philadelphia is 9-1 right now. Kickoff is Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Eagles are favored by 3 in this one, and the Eagles lead the series record with a record of 8-6. Last meeting, the Eagles won 31-13 in 2019. That was back when your boy Carson Wentz was the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Last week, the Bills beat the Jets 32-6. The Eagles won against Kansas City in a Super Bowl rematch 21-17. This is definitely going to be a good matchup here, man. This is the Eagles offense, who is ranked overall 9th in the NFL, going up against the Buffalo Bills offense, who is ranked 6th in the NFL. This is just the 15th meeting between the Bills and the Eagles. The Bills' last win in Philadelphia came way back in 1996. I was 13 years old. Sean McDermott has defeated 29 of the other 31 NFL teams, with only the Cardinals and the Philadelphia Eagles left on that list. So this is a big game for him. The Eagles now have won 13 straight regular season games over teams with a winning record, and they are the first team to win at least 9 of its first 10 games in consecutive seasons since 2005, when the Indianapolis Colts did it. Josh Allen coming into this game, man, kind of fizzled off before last week's game, but he had a stretch of 5 straight games with multiple passing touchdowns. That was going throughout the whole entire month of October. He did not have one game where he did not have multiple passing touchdowns. Cooled off a little bit in 2 straight losses versus the Bengals and the Broncos. Came back to life last week versus the Jets. He was 20 of 32 for 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He leads the NFL right now in passing touchdowns with 22, but he does have 12 interceptions on the year. We'll see how this one goes. Allen did have that big 81-yard touchdown pass last week to Khalil Shakir, who I saw somebody released him in our fantasy league. I definitely considered scooping him up, but I was like, maybe he's not a big-time player, and there he goes making a big-time play. The Bills are banged up in the secondary, and this is going to be a good matchup going up against A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith came alive last week. In the fourth quarter, he had 99 yards on 6 receptions. A.J. Brown was held to just 1 reception for 8 yards, man, on 4 targets. Bills safety Taylor Rapp was placed in an ambulance after a collision against the Jets, had a neck injury. McDermott is saying that he has a shot to play this week, which is really interesting. So we'll see. We got to keep our eyes on that one. And then Dane Jackson and Teron Johnson both are in the concussion protocol. Micah Hyde and Cam Lewis are day-to-day. So that whole entire secondary is banged up, going up against one of the best wide receiver cores, if not the best wide receiver core in the NFL. The Bills have scored right now an NFL leading 65 points off 19 takeaways. So they're definitely going to need some takeaways to hang around in this game. What do you see in this matchup coming up against the Philadelphia Eagles for the Bills?
Well, I think both of these teams played good games, the type of games they needed to play leading into this matchup. Obviously, the Bills kind of turning things around in that aspect. And then the Eagles, as far as competition level, going up against Kansas City. I feel like they're both in good preparation heading into this matchup. For me, it really just depends on what Josh Allen we get. Do we get Josh Allen or do we get Josh Favre? Because that's the big situational difference right there. Is Buffalo can turn the ball over a lot.
Yeah.
I think, you talked about Buffalo and their ability to score off of turnovers. So I'm really keying in on the turnover battle in this game. The Eagles are a little bit more reckless when it comes to turnovers this season in comparison to last year. But it just also they've been able to force a little bit more turnovers lately. Now, I talked about how going into last week, they had the 4th fewest interceptions, I believe, in the entire NFL. They only had 4 interceptions all year. So this is going to be an opportunity for them if Josh Allen, decides he wants to throw the ball around a little loose, for the Eagles to kind of make some plays as far as the defense goes and forcing turnovers. Also, you're looking at 2 quarterbacks that can beat you with their legs. Now, Jalen Hurts has not been running as much. He's been doing a lot of his damage with his legs as far as the touchdowns go. He's scoring touchdowns on the ground. There's no doubt about it.
I think he has 9 on the year.
Josh Allen, though, he's the type of guy that he's really good at extending the play, obviously, with his legs. He keeps his eyes downfield. You always have to keep your eyes on Diggs when Josh Allen gets outside the pocket. But Josh Allen will pick up those first downs. And that's what Philadelphia has to be cautious of. They don't want to get too far up the field, especially on the edges, and allow Josh Allen to, get outside and get some first downs, big chunks of yardage. That's one of the things I'm kind of keeping my eye on, who's going to be able to, prevent the quarterback from making big plays with their legs, because that's really what fuels both of these offenses at times, especially when they're facing defenses that are putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I think we talk about this all the time. It's like you don't necessarily need a running quarterback in this league, but you got to have a quarterback who's mobile, and fortunate for both of these fan bases, both of these teams have that in their quarterbacks. And then obviously you want to look at the run game. James Cook looked good. Obviously, there's been some fumble issues, but he looked pretty good when he was running with that sort of revenge. I messed up. I need to take care of business sort of situation. I thought DeAndre Swift looked excellent in that Kansas City game. So which one of these teams decides they want to run the ball? This is one of those games that could be super high scoring, or it could be like that Kansas City Eagles sort of game score-wise.
Yeah,
so
20s
that's
and whatnot.
I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards that side of this game. I do like Philadelphia. It's hard to pick against Philadelphia right now.
It is.
And I looked at this game as, when we talked about the schedules early on in the year and we were picking where we thought these teams would land in, the NFC East. And I think I had the Eagles finishing at like 11-6.
Mm-hmm.
And they look like they're going to be, surpass that number. Bless you. And they look like they're going to surpass that number here. And this was one of those games I kind of looked at as a possible loss for the Eagles, even though it was at home. But I think Buffalo, is, I mean, and let's be honest, you look at Buffalo's record, you look at the team, and people would be like, oh, they're underachieving. That Buffalo Bills record, schedule, might be the toughest schedule, in my opinion, in the entire NFL. It is brutal, and it just keeps getting harder as the season goes along. So for me, I think that I'm going to lean towards the Eagles in this game. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win. I think it's going to be a close game, though. It might even come down to a Jake Elliott game-winning field goal.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles 24-23.
I like the score. You got to think about some of these Bills losses, though. You know, they did lose to the Patriots.
Yeah.
They lost to the
Jets.
Broncos. You know, tough losses against teams that really aren't that good. They lost to the Jets opening day with Aaron Rodgers going down. And they've played just way too many close games for my liking. You know, even the New York Giants had a victory right there in their hands against the Buffalo Bills. You know, 1-2 plays maybe go the other way, and the Giants end up winning that game. I like the point that you brought up about the running game because Josh Allen, to me, you know, I've been saying this all year, every time we've had a chance to talk about Josh Allen games on the parlay and any matchups they've had within the NFC East, that when he has a little bit of help from somebody else besides Stephon Diggs, he usually gets a W. You know, I think he's an automatic W when the running game is working. The Bills right now, they're only averaging 117 rushing yards per game. And I know that's pretty decent, right? But I say only because you have a quarterback like Josh Allen. And when you have a running quarterback, your team should be putting up more rushing yards than just 117 per game. Last week, they rushed the ball the most that they've rushed it all season long. They had 38 attempts in that game. So I think they got to kind of build off of that formula a little bit. I don't think they need to rush it, you know, near 40, but maybe a good 28 this game. Try to find a way to, you know, have other people making plays besides Josh Allen.
Murray
and
looked
Stephon
good
Diggs.
running the rock for them last week also. You know, like
I think the week before he looked really good for them too. I know I had him on my, you know, I scooped him on fantasy. I saw him out there on the waiver. I was like, man, let me go ahead and get the OG one time. And I don't think he put up that many points, but he definitely has been a factor in the rushing game for the Bills since he's been there. You know, as far as getting in that red zone, getting close to the goal line, he's still proven he can be a tough runner. You know, I remember I talked about Adrian Peterson talking about he wanted to come back. And, man, we seeing, you know, Murray go out here and do his thing. I think Adrian Peterson could still do some goal line running as well.
No
but
doubt
also,
about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, as a Washington Commanders fan for sure. The other thing I want to talk about in this game real quickly before we move on from it is, you know, at the trade deadline, the Buffalo Bills were in desperate need of getting a cornerback, right? And we thought that because of the ties from Brian Dable, that Adoree Jackson could have been a guy that might have been a candidate to be able to be traded over there to the Bills, but they ended up trading for Rasul Douglas. Dude had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery last week against the Jets. This is just his 3rd game, you know, since being acquired in that trade from the Green Bay Packers. So it's good to at least have somebody like that in the secondary when your secondary is extremely banged up. I do think turnovers are going to play a big part in this game. Jalen Hurts has been about a good, you know, I'd say almost a turnover a game type of quarterback.
Both of these quarterbacks, I mean, let's just be honest, as good as they are, and, you know, they're always in the conversation of the elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. Both of them have been a little turnover happy this year. I think a lot of quarterbacks have.
With the Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills, though, you kind of expect that, right? Like, he was a guy sitting around 12, 13 interceptions. Jalen Hurts was the number 2 quarterback as far as turnover rate goes last year. It might have been the number 1, actually. I know Daniel Jones or Jalen Hurts was number 1. The other was number 2. So, you know, he's known to take care of that football, even dating back to his first year as a starter where he was limited. He only had 16 passing touchdowns. He still was a guy known for not turning the ball over. So I think this start to the season might have a lot to do with the schedule being just a little bit tougher than it was the previous year. You know, NFC East pretty much had a cupcake schedule in 2022. Things getting a little bit tougher for the Philadelphia Eagles, playing some better defenses. But I do think whatever team can run the ball better and not turn the ball over is going to get the W. It's not going to surprise me if the Bills get the win in this one, but I think I'm going to go with the Eagles again, man. And dare I say the Philadelphia Eagles, even though they are playing what appears to be uglier football, I said this on last week's show, that their identity now is winning ugly games. I think they're going to be able to get a W against the Buffalo Bills in this one. And I think it'll be right around a 2-score victory. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles by about 9 points. I'm going to go, let's go 26-17 Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm not mad at that score. Not mad at that score at all. And listen, it's if you want to find a time to when you got to kind of have to win, you know, ugly games, It's the grind of the season, the end of the season, going into playoffs where it's just you can win if things aren't necessarily going right. I mean, look at that stat line you talked about with AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Like if you say that stat line to a lot of people, they're probably gonna look at it and be like, "Oh, there's no way the Eagles win that game, right?" But you got a guy like Devonta Smith, you got a guy like DeAndre Swift, you have Jalen Hurts, you got a defense that can force turnovers and make plays. So it's interesting. They always have somebody who can step up, and I think that's what makes a team dangerous.
Yeah, and speaking of ugly wins, right? It's in ugly weather last week for the Eagles as well, So they're just finding ways. I remember what I told you on the last show. Like, you saw them throw those 2 bubble screens on first and second down with the game on the line, and I'm looking at them like, what is going on here? But they understood the circumstances with the weather and whatnot and how they had to get the yards and end up getting a victory. Now, as of today, the Buffalo Bills are on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs go. They would be the 8th seed right now and just miss that 7th seed to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have played one less game and have one less loss with the same amount of victory. So, to me, this is a must-win for the Bills. Like, it's getting to be crunch time here, man. You don't want to be on the outside looking in here, especially with the way that the Bills have fallen short in the past couple of years to Patrick Mahomes and other major quarterbacks in the AFC that are keeping them out of that championship game and keeping them out of making their way to a Super Bowl. That clock is definitely ticking on Sean McDermott and Josh Allen.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get right into it, man. We're going to talk about your game. I was going to say your boys, but we can't do that in this instance. We'll say your commies headed to Dallas to take on the Dallas Cowboys. All right, I know you're looking forward to this matchup, or maybe not. It all depends how this one goes. I was talking with Ben Ballew and Mike Swan last night, and they were talking about how the Washington Commanders have played down to their competition. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I just think y'all might just be a bad team that, y'all play well against the Philadelphia Eagles. I just got to keep it real, man. Like, just because you play well against one team within the division doesn't mean that you're playing down to everybody else. I mean,
I might be laughing, but it is
facts. It's facts.
I mean, it's crazy, right? Because you lose to Bears, you lose to, you beat the Patriots, right? But like
barely.
Yeah, barely. And let's be honest, you only played against the good teams. The only ones you played good against
of
the
every
Eagles.
team in the NFC East, y'all had the easiest schedule thus far. Look at some of these teams y'all have got to play already. Patriots, Broncos, Cardinals. Y'all started off the year with a bunch of winnable games. The Giants twice. Let's not ignore that. And to have lost this many games, what is it, 6 of your last 8, 7 of your last 9 or something like that after starting, 2-0. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous there. But Washington comes into this game 4-7. The Dallas Cowboys are 7-3, one game away from the Beard's, prediction on the year of 8 wins, which was the wildest thing I've ever heard. This game is today at 4:30. The Cowboys are favored by 10.5. Last
it's
meeting,
up.
the Commanders
13.5.
13.5. Okay. Commanders beat the Cowboys. That was last year, 26-6, with everything on the line for the number 1 seed for the Dallas Cowboys, trying to get that number 1 seed over the Eagles last year. They fell short last week. Commanders lost to my Giants. Shout out to the gang one time, 31-19. Cowboys beat the Carolina Panthers 33-10. This is the 11th Thanksgiving game between Washington and Dallas. Dallas is 8-2 in those matchups. Washington won the latest Thanksgiving matchup, which surprised me. That was in 2020, 41-16. Dallas has won 12 in a row at AT&T Stadium. The last quarterback to beat the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. You want to take a guess?
Colt McCoy.
When the hell did Colt McCoy beat the Dallas Cowboys?
He beat them.
Was that the game?
Yeah, he was with Washington. But you're talking overall.
When was Colt McCoy with Washington? It was like 2018.
Colt McCoy beat the Cowboys in Dallas on Thanksgiving. It was like his best game ever of his life.
Oh, that must be the 2020 matchup? Because Colt McCoy was the backup for the New York Giants. Let me see. No way he was the backup for y'all in 2020.
No,
he was the backup for the Giants in 2020, I believe.
I think it was 2018. So the last quarterback to beat the Cowboys on this winning streak at home.
Yeah, I mean, it's 11 games, so it doesn't go back to Colt McCoy with Washington. I'll give you a hint.
Kirk Cousins.
It was not Kirk Cousins. I'll give you one hint and give you one more guess.
Okay.
It was an opening day game.
Tom Brady.
There you go, my man. See, I had to just I had to lead you to the pot one time. Tom Brady is the last quarterback to beat the Dallas Cowboys at home, which is kind of crazy because he's been retired for a good bit here. Now, Dak Prescott at home, in those 10 games, Prescott is averaging 274 yards passing. He's got 25 total touchdowns, but he does have 9 interceptions. So he hasn't been playing flawless football at home during that streak. One of those wins came with Cooper Rush at the quarterback position as well. Prescott is going for his 5th consecutive game with at least 2 touchdown passes. That's one shy of a career best for Dak Prescott. Now, if the Washington Commanders are going to have a chance in this game, I think Eric Bieniemy has to flip the script, literally. The way that he's been passing the ball 68% of the time, I think he needs to rely on the run more in this game and get the ball more into the best player on the Washington Commanders offense hands, which is Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson has 288 scrimmage yards over the last 2 games, and he led y'all with 7 receptions last week against the Giants. So I think you got to get the hands in Brian Robinson's hands or get the ball in Brian Robinson's hands. Try to stay away from this Dallas secondary. We all know about the statistics with DeRon Bland. He tied the NFL record for the most pick sixes in one season. He's 1 interception return away from being the sole leader in that category. 3 other players have 4 pick sixes in a season. Most recently was Eric Allen. It's been 30 years since somebody did this, which is extremely wild. Eric Allen was a dog. For all the young viewers out there that don't know Eric Allen, he was one of the best cornerbacks in that era, played for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think Eric Allen went somewhere else late in his career as well.
I want to say the Raiders or the
it was definitely the Raiders. Definitely the Raiders. Yep. I want to say it was the Raiders as well. Bland's 4 touchdowns are the most in an NFL in one season by a non-offensive player since J.J. Watt had 5 and Atlanta's Devin Hester had 4 in 2014. That's great company to be around. Sam Howell's going to have to play a pretty good game to keep the Washington Commanders in this one. He's been sacked a league high 51 times. Dallas just matched his season high with 7 sacks on Bryce Young. Howell does lead the NFL with 295 completions. He does lead the NFL with 442 attempts, and he leads the NFL with 3,038 passing yards, which is really good because you guys have, how many games y'all got left? Y'all got 6 games left.
6 games left, yeah.
So he's already at 3,000 with 6 games left. He should be able to hit that 4,000 mark pretty easy. And for a guy in his first year as a starter, that's really, a good accomplishment for Sam Howell, who has some things to clean up a little bit. But what are you seeing in this matchup? I know we're going to get to the roadmap a little bit here. I got a couple more nuggets I want to go over, but I want to see where your head is at first with this matchup, going up against Dallas, who's red hot.
My head is like Chris Farley and Tommy Boy pulling my hair out. Like I felt like a mad scientist, like trying to figure out how we could beat Dallas. And you think about it, and then you just added more to my plate. Like, I'm worried about, obviously, how bad our secondary is, how bad our defense is in general against this offense, right? And I didn't even really think about how many sacks we might give up today.
Oh, yeah.
That could be an issue. I mean, listen, you're going into this game 13.5-point underdogs. You're going into this game where the national media is talking about the head coach. You're going into this game, off of an embarrassing loss to the worst team, in the division. So there's a lot of things you're going into this game with your back against the wall, right? And we've seen Washington kind of respond in the Rivera era in similar situations like this, and then we've seen them beat Dallas when Dallas needed a win most. That was the last game of the year last season, and what has really changed from that point to this point? It's not a lot. Obviously, Dallas is a much better football team than the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. So
I'd say this just to throw out some change. No Chase Young, no Montez Sweat.
Oh yeah,
those are big. The emergence of DeRon Bland. No Trayvon Diggs. So there's been a little bit of change here. No Ezekiel Elliott. No Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and obviously the addition of Eric Bieniemy versus Scott Turner. Yep. But I think obviously the biggest difference is probably going to be that Chase Young. No Chase Young and no Montez Sweat. And that's easy for people to like, you look at last game, you're like, oh, well, we got 9 sacks. Let's be honest. I'd say 75% of those 9 sacks were early Sam Howell-esque sacks, where DeVito was just holding on to the ball for too long. So and before that, we had one sack since Chase Young and Montez Sweat were traded away. And that one sack, I'll keep reminding everybody, was a 0-yard sack. So
Kai added to it too. No Kellen Moore. That's another good point with Mike McCarthy calling plays. And we all know Mike McCarthy, most 40-point games, since he's been calling plays. So that's 4 of them this season.
It's going to be unfortunate when if he gets let go at the end of the year. But that being said, it's if you're going to be playing a team like the Dallas Cowboys and you're in a position like the Washington Commanders, right? Like I you know me, I hold on to playoff hope until you're eliminated. But let's be honest, it's not looking good for Washington at all. It looks probably like a 2% chance if we're looking at mathematics. But you have to play a damn near perfect football game. That's just, there's no other way around it. Like you have to play a damn near perfect football game against the Dallas Cowboys. And if you don't, you might have a little room, let's say a little margin of error if Dallas beats themselves, right? But if Dallas plays Dallas football, you cannot make any mistakes. You cannot turn the ball over. And for me, it's going to come down to the bend don't break situation, right? Because you cannot let Dallas beat you with big plays, okay? Just let them have it, all of the intermediate and the short stuff they want to have, and then hold them down in the red zone to field goals. Because
I think the interesting thing about that is your secondary is the most important position group in this entire game. They're going up against CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson, Tony Pollard in the passing game as well, right? And y'all pass defense is ranked so low, but y'all have talent. A lot of people was coming at you in the comment section of that post too when you said y'all had more talent than us. And when I really got to thinking about it, I'm like, damn, y'all don't. People were making great points on that post. Like, y'all don't have more talent than the Giants, especially when you lost Montez Sweat and you lost Chase Young. Now, the only real position group that you could argue that the Washington Commanders have better than a bad team in the New York Giants is wide receiver and possibly your safety unit. Cam Curl has been out there playing really good. I don't know about cornerback because I don't think y'all got a guy like
quarterback.
Quarterback. I mean, when we're healthy, I think you could say Sam Howell, Daniel Jones is a wash. The way that this kid's playing, I mean, we saw your guy turn the ball over, and I've been saying it all year. He turned the ball over, 3 times in that game? He's a turnover a game type of quarterback. To me, that's a wash because if you're turning the ball over, you're not a good quarterback. I don't care how many yards you throw for when your team is losing 6 of the last 8, right?
So what about Josh Allen? He has 12 interceptions.
He does, but he also leads with 22 touchdowns.
Sam Howell has 18 touchdowns with 12 interceptions.
To me, that's a big difference because you're under 2-1, right? And the threshold for me for quarterbacks is 2-1. Absolutely, right? Now, just to go back to that main point there, with your safeties, to me, this isn't like Washington has to play a flawless game. Your defense just got to show up. That's all it is because we know that your offense can make mistakes and still put up points on the board every game. The Washington Commanders right now are averaging 22 points a game. If you play a good, tight defensive matchup like the Arizona Cardinals played against the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to be in this game. Even with a turnover, even with a few mistakes, a bad third down percentage, all of that. Washington got to go out there in this game. I think if you score 24 points, and especially if you get going early, you're going to be in this game. There's no reason for them to not be in this game if you can score 24 points. Defensively, it's if you're going to allow this Dallas Cowboys team to go out there and put up 40 on you like the New York Giants did. That's really what it's about.
That's the big thing.
When you said bend, don't break, I thought that was the best point that you made because if you can bend, don't break and get into the red zone and force the Dallas Cowboys to take field goals, don't allow them to maximize those red zone attempts and get like 5 or 6 red zone attempts in this game, I think Washington's going to have a really good chance. We've seen CeeDee Lamb have games where he's completely like just a non-factor in the game, but the Dallas Cowboys still find a way to win. Like last week, I forget, I think he had like 38 yards or something like that and a touchdown. That's it. If you can hold CeeDee Lamb to a game like that, the Commanders are absolutely going to have a chance in this game. Tony Pollard has not been the bell cow running back that the Dallas Cowboys have expected, so I don't foresee Tony Pollard coming into this game and the Dallas Cowboys just being able to run the rock against the Washington Commanders front. So I think that's really the key. It's this secondary versus Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb. If you can just make that a reasonable matchup, the Commanders should have a chance in this game. And y'all, you know, speaking of what I was saying about Ben Ball, you and Mike Swan, like this game's going to prove if y'all play up or down to y'all competition. If the Dallas Cowboys go out here and they cover that, what is it you said, 13 and a half?
Yeah.
If they cover that, it's going to tell you everything you need to know about the Washington Commanders, that they're just not a good team.
Yeah, and so down to the bend don't break sort of situation is because of the Dallas Cowboys red zone efficiency. And I see Monique in the chat asking, so they get down to the red zone a lot. They are number 2 in the National Football League in red zone attempts. But they're
that must have changed as of last week because they was number 1 when we did the Thursday or the Tuesday show.
They're number 2 in red zone attempts, but they are 18th in converting those attempts at 51.2%.
Now, when you looking up red zone attempts, are you looking at the total number or per game?
Total number.
That's what it is. Yeah. So per game, they had the number 1 is from what I saw. So maybe one of those. Let me see. What is the Dallas Cowboys record? Have they played 11 and not had a bye yet? That's what it is. The Dallas Cowboys have played 1 game less than everybody else. So per game, they're number 1.
Yeah, so that's the big thing. It's just the bend don't break, and that was the number 1 thing on my notes. And then obviously just the passing offense versus the passing defense. I feel like they're going to get some yards. And it's inevitable for them to get some chunk plays here. They're averaging the 5th most passing yards a game at 255.5, and Washington's giving up the 3rd most per game at 258.5. But it's just a matter of just keeping them out of the end zone and keeping yourself in the game that way. That's going to be super important. But I did some beard arithmetic, and I think I've put together some numbers, some exact numbers that I'm going to plug in as coordinates on the officially sponsored by Waze roadmap to victory for the Washington Commanders.
What the hell? Yeah, you're getting on the freeway. What? No, turn right. Get out of the lane. No. Okay, get in position. Just get out the lane.
Before I even start the roadmap, there's somebody standing in the middle of the road with a yellow vest and they're waving, and it is J. Gene in the building. Long time. Happy Thanksgiving. It is great to see you. We hope everything is well. But I just saw that name and I had to, stop in my tracks before I got started here and say hello.
In the building?
I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah. J. Gene been in the building, yeah. I said what's up to J. Gene last week. You already know, man. Sacrosanct.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen.
Let me ask you this before you get off into the roadmap. You said a roadmap to victory.
Yes.
Does this mean you're going to pick the Washington?
That does not mean I'm going to pick.
I said, damn, that roadmap intro sounds like the Commanders headed for an edge off a cliff.
No. So listen. This is if Washington wants to beat Dallas, this is what has to happen.
Okay. You're not picking the Commanders. Right there, the way you said that, you're not picking the Commanders.
All right. So like I said, I was in the lab like mad scientist breaking down numbers like old school calculator with receipt paper and everything, okay? I got it figured out. This is how the Washington Commanders beat the Dallas Cowboys. Okay.
Spike don't care.
It was just proper.
The first thing is you have to hold Dallas to 45% or less on 3rd downs, okay? 45% precisely, okay? Not 46.
I'll take 45%.
Not 47,
every
not
game.
48, not 49, not 50. 45%, okay?
Under.
45% or under. 45% is the magic number.
Under.
Magic number here, okay? These are all magic numbers. I'm precise, okay? Precise. You have to sack Dallas 4 times or more, okay?
Okay.
4 sacks or more. Dallas has to commit 9 penalties in this game, okay?
Damn. Banking on mistakes from the other team, huh?
So Washington, I'm looking for some hard accounts. I'm looking for some motion. I'm looking for some deep throws, try to entice some pass interference penalties, some movements on the defensive front, get those Dallas Cowboy offensive linemen a little jittery. 9 penalties from the Dallas Cowboys, okay? You have to force 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers is the magic number. Yes, I know, Kai. 0 sacks on Dak's last 42 dropbacks. But in Dallas's losses this year, he's been sacked 2 times, 4 times, and 5 times.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
like
yeah. Yeah.
42 dropbacks. He hasn't been sacked. I was just pulling up the numbers, too. He's only been sacked 4 or more times in 2 games this year. He's got 3 games where he wasn't sacked at all.
I know. Listen, these are why these numbers are magical, okay? You have to sack Dallas 4 times, okay?
This roadmap is going across water. You don't need a boat to get to where we going.
Good thing I walk on it. Okay, you're going to need to force 2 turnovers. You talked about running the ball. You have to run the ball for 160 yards or more exactly, okay? And the big kicker, which may sound, pretty obvious, okay? You have to hold Dallas to 17 points, or you have to score 30 points. One of those.
I thought you said
things.
you were being precise on this.
I am very precise.
There's a lot of outs, a lot of options there. Hold them to 17 or score 30.
Yes. Those are going to be the ways that you win. You're either going to
I wonder what the odds are on scoring 30. What your chance of victory is when you score 30. It's got to be like 85% at least.
Well, it depends on if you're talking league-wide or you're talking Commanders.
League-wide, yeah, league-wide. How many have y'all lost games this year scoring 30? Y'all beat
I
the
think
Broncos?
we've lost five games by scoring 30 points, probably. Maybe
No
not
way.
5.
No,
But these
y'all
two-
averaging 22 points a game. What are the 2 you know? Oh, the Philadelphia Eagles was 1, right? Y'all scored 30.
I think we
in that.
scored 30 in both of the Philadelphia games.
Yeah, that might be right. The Philly games. Those are the only ones I could think of.
Yeah.
Y'all put 20 on the Bears. Patriots, y'all end up winning that game. What are y'all losses? Do you remember all your losses, man?
I do. Unfortunately.
What are y'all losses again?
2 Philadelphia
Giants,
losses.
2 to
the
Philadelphia.
Giants.
That's all. Exactly right. Bears.
The Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills.
That's 6. Y'all have 7 losses.
I don't.
So you don't know all your losses.
I don't. Who else did we lose to?
There's one more loss there. 7.
Seattle. The one that hurt me the
There you go.
most.
Yeah, Seattle. Y'all didn't score 30 in that one either.
No, I think we scored like 28 in that one.
Yeah.
28 or 29. So, but yeah, that's the roadmap to victory. I want to pick Washington. You guys know I want to pick Washington.
Of course, you're a Homer fan.
But I'm going to give you the next best thing. I'm going to give you Washington to cover the points. I think they cover 13.5. But I am going to pick the Dallas Cowboys. A little reverse psychology here. I think they win 34-24. So you see where that falls in line right there, where we don't score 20 and they score more than 17.
Yeah. Giving you all these precision outs you talked about. Kai said, "Yo, Awthentik." Caleb on Twitter last night said the Cowboys are going to score 40, but it will be a close game. I believe he predicted 33-42. So maybe that helps you out. That would cover the 13.5 as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, listen, man. The Cowboys have got to start striding right about now. This is the time where you want to be playing your best football. You want to, and Dak Prescott has been playing lights out the last couple of weeks. He's the hottest quarterback in football. But I think right now is when you want to see Tony Pollard get clicking. You want to see Jake Ferguson getting in the end zone, twice a game type vibes. You want to see Brandon Cooks build off that big game that he had against the New York Giants. You want to show the league that the way that you played against the New York Giants is not necessarily how you just play against bad teams. That's how you play against all teams. I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys in this game on Thanksgiving when they like to show out. I think the Commanders are going to put up a few points. I'm going to give y'all 17. But I think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this one 38-17. I think they're going to run that scoreboard up, boat race y'all one time. Yeah. And, improve to 8 victories on the year, which would be crazy because that's how many victories you predicted for the Dallas Cowboys.
I guess I'm going to have to pick them to lose every game the rest of the year, right?
Good luck with that because y'all got to play them again, right? It's probably not going to be a good thing for y'all.
Beat Dallas!
Beat Dallas. A Texas boy said because you're wearing that shirt, y'all definitely losing.
I saw. It's bad luck, apparently.
Shout out Mac Lowe in the building, man. Mac, we got to get up, man. I got to hit you up. We supposed to link up last week, bro. Let me see. Monique said MVP talks. But I know we have to beat the Eagles, Bills, and or the Dolphins. I like that. Yeah, and Kai, you know I'm going to hold those 8 games over the Bears' head all season because that was a crazy statement. Like, who comes into the year saying the Dallas Cowboys are going to be last in the division after back-to-back seasons of at least 12 wins? Let me give you a little bit of chance to redeem yourself. You think the Dallas Cowboys get to 12 wins this year?
Well, they got 2 games against us, right?
Yep. They're sitting at 7 wins right now. You gonna take the over or the under on 12? Or you gonna take a push?
I'll take the
You gonna take the under?
Yeah.
They got a tough schedule coming up.
They do. I think they get to 11 though, probably.
I'm gonna take the push. I think they get exactly to 12. I think they get exactly to 12. All right. Let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about these New York Giants, man. Got to talk about them on Bleacher Report. Shout out to everybody who pulled up to that one, man. This is going to be the Patriots headed to MetLife to take on the New York Football Giants.
Giants are on the board with 11:16 to go here in the third.
I'm feeling kind of good about my New York Giants these days, you know? I'm all about us getting to where I predicted us to be. You know, I don't want to do that to say I told you so, but I just want to do that just to be like, man, I've been putting my foot in this content. I've been being pretty accurate this season so far. Right now, we got the Philadelphia Eagles in first place. We got the Dallas Cowboys in second place. We still got those Commanders in third, but I think today is going to be the beginning of y'all demise where my New York Giants start to climb up to that third position like I talked about on that stat prediction show. Now, we're going to welcome the New England Patriots to New York to take on my Giants. The Patriots are 2-8. The New York Giants are 3-8. Kickoff is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Patriots favored by 3.5. I'm not feeling that right now, man. Tommy Dimes, Tommy DeVito, Danny DeVito Dimes, whatever you want to call them. They was calling them Tommy Salami.
Tommy touchdowns.
Tommy touchdowns, Tommy football, all of that good stuff. I want to see some of these one time on Sunday. Last meeting, the Patriots beat the Giants 35-14. Give them another one of those one time on that. In the postseason, the Giants lead the postseason series 2-0. Let's just let that marinate one time. You know those 2 postseason victories, Beard?
I do. I know them quite well. I believe they were in what we commonly refer to as the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. More jewelry for the New York Giants, man. I'm hoping that we can get, on the right track towards some jewelry, because right now we definitely not looking like that. The Patriots are 12-3 all-time at MetLife Stadium. Last week, the Giants beat the Commanders 31-19. The Patriots had a bye. Patriots have lost 6 of their last 7 games. Their one win was versus the Buffalo Bills, 29-25. The Giants win versus the Commanders snapped a 3-game losing streak, and we are looking to try to get our first 2-game winning streak of the season. I cannot believe that the Giants, I'm always talking about consecutive touchdowns, to have consecutive multiple touchdown games, you got to get multiple victories. I'm sure that's a thing too. So the Giants are looking to get their first 2 winning game stretch here on the season. The Giants are 3-8 and are 3 games back from a wild card spot.
Oh yeah, listen,
I'm still thinking about it.
Sound like me right now.
Kind of. I just think our schedule presents a little bit more opportunity than y'all's.
For sure.
We got the Patriots, we got the Packers, we got the Saints, we got the Rams left. That's 4 winnable games right there, and we're sitting on 3 wins. Get to 7, we get to that 8. Like I told you, I'm just trying to be a little bit accurate, man. I said 8 and 9, possibly
for your
a playoff
accuracy,
push.
my friend.
Yeah, I know. Right now, you can't be rooting for your Commanders too much, man. But you, you picked them to cover. Those are your moral victories that you're looking for right now for your Commanders. The Commanders are sitting at 4-7, so I mean, y'all still not technically, mathematically out of it. This will be Bill Belichick's. This is crazy to me. I don't know if this is a typo or not, but this is just crazy. 423rd game with the Patriots. This is pushing Don Shula with the Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. New England has won the past 2 games in the series versus the New York Giants. The Giants' offense right now has been pathetic. 13.5 points per game. That's dead last in the NFL right now. We're going up against the Patriots, who are 31st in the NFL. 14.1 points per game. These are 2 bad teams, man. And you got Bill Belichick over there. You got Brian Dable, the Bill Belichick disciple over here in New York. And we looking at 2 of the worst offenses in the NFL. I don't care who's going out there. The over-under is just absolutely terrible, 33.5. Just absolutely terrible. But the Giants have not won consecutive games all year. I'm thinking that this game could be the one where we get our consecutive wins here. Giants are averaging just 150.6 passing yards per game. We did get 246 from Tommy DeVito last week. Against the Commanders. Yes, we did. I wasn't even going to say that, but hey, I know you're in the dumps, man.
I'm like, man, the Commanders are coming out a lot in this preview.
We played y'all last week. I mean, all the numbers that yield towards Tommy DeVito playing good football were against your team. Now, this is a revenge game for a couple of people here. You got Joe Judge revenge game. I don't think that matters that much, but you got Brian Dable table. He spent 11 seasons with the New England Patriots, won 5 Super Bowl titles with the Patriots. You got Bill Belichick, 12 seasons with the New York Giants. He was the defensive coordinator for 2 Super Bowls. Jabril Peppers, part of that OBJ trade. Patriots signed him in 2022. And when I was doing the Bleacher Report stream, a lot of the Patriots fans were actually in that stream. And one of the dudes was telling me, man, he likes the way that Jabril Peppers has been playing this year. He thinks that he's been a contributor for sure. 59 tackles and an interception on the year. He's got 5 or more tackles in 4 of his last 5 games. He had 17 PBUs and 15 TFLs in 3 seasons with the New York Giants from 2019 to 2021. Now, you got the whole Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi thing going on here. And I think it's going to be Mac Jones that's going to get the start. Bailey Zappi really hasn't shown that, he's a guy that you could get the keys to over Mac Jones. Hasn't played that well, but he is 2-0 as a starter for the Patriots as well. He had a game against the Detroit Lions in 2022 where he was 17-21, 188 yards, a touchdown and a pick. And then against the Browns, he was 24-34. This is his best game to date as a starter, 309 yards. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was only sacked 2 times in both of those games combined. 74 completion percentage in both of his starts and 9 yards per attempt, which is a lot better than what we're seeing from Mac Jones, who has struggled this season. 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He leads the league in turnover-worthy plays. Second worst adjusted completion percentage under pressure. Only one quarterback has a higher turnover-worthy play percentage than your boy Mac Jones. It's one of your boys. You know who it is?
One of my boys. Oh,
yeah, it's one of your boys. Yeah, it's definitely one of your boys.
I don't know, man. That's
tough,
a tough
right?
one. That's
Gardner
a tough one.
Minshew.
Gardner's, he's trying to do magic out there.
Okay, he's trying to do magic. He's running into turnover-worthy plays. That's what's happening with Gardner Minshew. Patriots offense is 26th in yards per game, 294.5 yards. They're only averaging 199.6 passing yards per game. That's 26 in the NFL. And the thing that's been really down for the Patriots is their rushing attack. Bringing in Ezekiel Elliott, you thought that might have, boosted their rushing attack. There's been known to be a good running back by committee type of situation for the Patriots, but they're only averaging 94.9 rushing yards per game. And they've lost a couple of players this year. They had Juju Smith-Schuster miss a couple of games. Kendrick Bourne on IR. I think that really hurt them, had the ACL injury, and he still leads them in targets, receptions, and yards. Mike Gesicki, not what they thought they were getting coming over from Miami, only 21 receptions for 181 yards and a touchdown. Gesicki is pretty much a slot wide receiver. I was looking at some of these numbers. He only has 2 pass blocking reps on the year and lost a beard there one time, just went black for a second there on this eve of Black Friday. One more time for the gang. Juju Smith-Schuster has just 22 receptions on a year for 149 yards, 1 touchdown. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are missing him that much. And the Giants defense, man, I think they thrive a lot. And before I get off into my keys to victory, I just want to talk about, you already got Kayvon Thibodeau playing lights out football, but Xavier McKinney, I think, is making a case for being a New York Giant in the future. One of the leaders in this locker room, had 12 tackles, a TFL, and a fumble recovery last week against the Commanders. Bobby Okereke led the team with 14 tackles last week, 2 forced fumbles, too, in Week 11 against the Commanders. Micah McFadden, 8 tackles, a tackle for loss, and 1 pass breakup. And he had a fumble recovery last week against your Commanders. I'm piling on because you asked for it pretty much.
That is well at this point.
When I see, somebody down, I kick them when they're down. That's how I do, man. Shout out to the gang one time. And Dexter Lawrence got his 4th sack of the season against your Commanders as well. Isaiah Simmons closed out the game, 54-yard interception, touchdown, return against your Commanders. Shout out Sam Howell, man. We appreciate that. Before I get to the keys to victory, what are you seeing in this game one time that makes you think maybe the Patriots could win or maybe the Giants could win?
I don't like the Patriots. If the Patriots want to win this game, then you don't play Mac Jones, okay? Listen,
you play Bailey Zappi.
I've never been a Mac Jones guy. Everybody should know that by now. There's a lot of people here in Washington were like, oh, we need Mac Jones. I don't want anything to do with Mac Jones. But I think Mac Jones can be an okay quarterback. He's just in a bad situation. Those
are the flowers the beard gives out right there. Yeah. Those are the flowers.
There's not a lot of talent around him right now, but still, great quarterbacks do good things with, okay talent. But
wait, that's a good quote, right? Let me hear. Giants fans would not like to hear that. What did you say? Great quarterbacks
do good things with okay talent.
That's a crazy one. I like that.
So for me, it's just going to kind of come down to both of these teams are very, low scoring, turnover prone, but the defenses can play very well at times. Let's not get it twisted. The Patriots have a pretty good defense. It's not a bad defense. It's not a great defense, but it's a really good defense. Obviously, they're missing, Judon, who's a big part of their defensive success. But I think that you're going to have to look at the turnover.
Is Judon not playing in this game?
I think he's on IR.
Oh, he's on IR.
He's been out.
I didn't even know that.
He's been out for a while. So I think you're looking at turnovers. You're looking at sacks sort of battle right here. Like which one of these teams can, win the turnover battle? Which one of these teams can get more sacks? Because both of these teams can give up a ton of sacks, obviously. But I think New England and the Giants can both get to the quarterback. I think a lot of the Giants' game plan against the Commanders, I would laugh about it and I joke about it because, it's my Commanders. But that's the type of game that the Giants need to be playing. I feel like, and you talked a lot about this when we talked about the game and about the identity from that win. Like you need to use Saquon Barkley, not just in the run game, but in the pass game. You need to let him run the ball. The one thing I think I would like to see the Giants do a little bit different, and I think that they made this adjustment in the second half against Washington, is kind of looking at it with the way that when Eric Bieniemy play calls good for Sam Howell is a lot of the quick passes, a lot of the screen stuff, 3-step, 3 drops, pass plays, like those sort of things. Because DeVito, being young and being inexperienced, he has a tendency to hold on to the ball for a long time. So if I'm the play calling for the Giants, I'm looking for a lot of quick stuff, a lot of quick releases for DeVito. Don't necessarily set him up to be sacked 9 times in a game because that can happen. Obviously, we saw it happen last week against the Commanders. But yeah, I just think that Saquon is going to be pivotal in this game. I think Thibodeau is going to be important in this game. And I think if you stick to the script as far as the game plan against Washington, I think the Giants can definitely beat the Patriots this week.
Don't put that that turnover prone label on my New York Giants, okay? We're not a turnover prone team. And I don't appreciate that coming from a fan from the team who is number 1 in the NFL in giveaways right now.
Well, that doesn't mean that you're not turnover prone too.
We are in the bottom half of the league, brother.
Yeah, but in turnovers, I'm just saying you're turnover prone. The possibility of turnovers.
That's horrible. That was a horrible way to try to iron that out. The beard is just losing validity by the second here. The worse the Commanders get, the worse his takes get. I don't understand what's going on here. All right, let's go over these keys to victory one time, man. First of all, you got to stick to the identity. Commit to Saquon Barkley in the first half and in the second half. Talked about this on the last show. Saquon with DeVito as a starter in the first half. 13 carries for -1 yards. Second half, 14 rushes for 146 yards. Saquon had 83 yards on the ground versus the Washington Commanders, 57 through the air, and the 2 touchdowns receiving, 140 scrimmage yards. He also is 7th in rushing right now, which is a damn miracle considering he missed 3 games on the year and the way that the New York Giants quarterback situation has been, where teams absolutely know that the New York Giants are going to be running the ball almost every damn game. And this season, the Giants are 3-0 when Barkley scores a touchdown. They're 0-8 when he doesn't. Saquon has at least 110 scrimmage yards in 4 of his last 5 games. We're going to have to breach that 110 scrimmage yard mark again. And he's rushed for at least 50 yards in 11 consecutive games. It's the longest active streak in the NFL right now. Get some pressure on this quarterback. Mac Jones, not a mobile guy. He's going to stand in that pocket like a statue. Do not allow him to have time to throw the ball. Get in his face. Get your hands up. Get after the quarterback. The Giants went 2 straight games before the Washington game where they didn't even have a sack. So you got to get to the quarterback. Get pressure on the quarterback. Try to get some some pass breakups at the line, getting those hands up and whatnot. The Giants have 19 sacks on the season. Kayvon Thibodeau, shout out to Kayvon. We already know 10.5 sacks on the season. First player in the Wink Martindale scheme to be able to get the double-digit sacks. Tommy DeVito. Absolutely do not play hero ball. The one thing that's bothering me with Tommy DeVito, it kind of reminds me of like RG3 not being able to slide. Tommy DeVito's got to learn how to throw the damn ball away. When things are not there in the NFL, you can't be doing this trying to dodge defenders and taking sacks and just ducking your head down and just trying to find a way to get to the line of scrimmage and try to gain some yards. Find a way to throw the ball. away. No turnovers in this game. We don't need the 3 touchdowns. I said this on Bleacher Report, but we also don't need a couple of turnovers. Tommy DeVito played really well against Washington. 18 of 26, 246, 3 touchdowns. Clean game, that 9 sacks. We got to clean that up. The Giants found a way to win that game with 9 sacks. That was the first time the Giants ever won a game with at least 9 sacks. And our defense is 8th in the NFL in takeaways. So when it comes to turnovers, I want us to be able to lead the turnover battle in this game. Force Mac Jones to make some bad throws. Off platform is where you see Mac Jones make a lot of his interceptions. Stop the running game. Ramondre Stevenson has not had that great of a year this year, but he did lead the Patriots with 102 scrimmage yards in Week 10 before their bye. He had a season-high 88 rushing yards in that game, too. It's his second straight game with at least 100 scrimmage yards. So don't allow him to gain momentum and use the New York Giants as an example of the Patriots getting back to their bread and butter, which is their running game. Ezekiel Elliott had a season high for himself as well last week with 88 scrimmage yards. I think he had like 50-something rushing, and he has a rushing touchdown in each of his past 6 games versus the New York Giants, but all of those were with the Dallas Cowboys. So we know the New England Patriots are definitely a different type of offense, built way different than the Dallas Cowboys. Keep Ezekiel Elliott out the end zone. Keep the New England Patriots out of the red zone. That's another thing I want to see. This isn't a game where the New York Giants need to be playing around with the bend, don't break type of philosophy. Make more big plays than the Patriots make big plays. You saw it last week, that wheel route to Saquon Barkley. I need more of that. I like those kind of plays. Use Saquon in this passing game to get big chunks. I want to see us run some screens, man. I think the screen play is a easy way for the New York Giants to be able to get some big plays on the board. I think once we get that running game going, I think then you can try to use some of these screens. After I expect this passing attack not to be clicking early on, but I know that Mike Kafka and Brian Dable, they like to throw the ball a lot in the first half, so expect to see that early and often. The Giants are 25th in explosive plays in the league right now. The Patriots are 30th in explosive plays. So I want to keep that number, keep that gap increasing in favor of the New York Giants. And, bank on Darius Slayton in this game, too. I think that Darius Slayton's going to make a big play in this game. Last week he had his career high 82 receiving yards, got his first receiving touchdown of the year. He asked for a bigger role in this offense. They gave it to him. It was only on 4 receptions, but yet and still he found his way in the end zone, had a couple of big plays. For me, I think Darius Slayton's definitely going to be a big part of this game plan. Wan'Dale Robinson underneath, Darius Slayton over top. Hopefully we can get Jalen Hyatt involved in this game too. I think this will present a big opportunity for us to get the running game clicking first with Saquon Barkley, and then try to beat them over the top with some play action. And maybe Tommy DeVito can get this one out there a little bit farther, unlike he did against the Dallas Cowboys. But for me, I'm predicting a win in this game. Momentum from the Washington game. This team has not quit on Brian Dable just yet. You saw some great creativity from Brian Dable and Mike Kafka offensively in the game plan against Washington. I'm taking my New York Giants in this one, man, 24-14. And y'all know me, man. I'm a realist. I know a lot of people talking about tanking, and they want the New York Giants to lose. Why are we rooting for wins and all that and whatnot? For me, man, look, they're meaningless games. If you think they're meaningless, they should not pull you in one direction or the other. I just call it like I see it, man. That's the way I've been able to, assess these New York Giants games for the past, I'll say, at least 2.5 seasons. 2019, I came into this with a little bit of Homer vibes. I thought Daniel Jones was going to be that guy, once we got to see the preseason and whatnot. And then, that Giants team kind of brought me back down to earth. And I've been able to assess this team a little bit more accurate. I don't know if we'll get to that 8-win mark, but I do think that we got a couple winnable games here. And I think this is definitely one of them. Give me the Giants 24-14.
The one thing I will point out before I give you my score is it's also very important to take the points if you're the Giants, because I think this game is going to be low scoring. So if you have an opportunity to kick a field goal, kick a field goal. Take the points, because I really feel like this is going to be a low scoring, close game. So don't give up on opportunities. Just put points on the board and go for it on 4th down too much. And I think you guys will be okay. I'm going to pick the Giants to win this game, 17-13.
I like that score. Shout out to Marjorie in the building one time, dropping those bombs. She said 9 years ago today, that may have been the greatest catch I've ever seen. OBJ pulled off the impossible versus Dallas. And that's the Chris Collinsworth quote that is actually a part of the intro on the Giant Overreaction. I remember when I first put that intro together, people were like, why are you putting OBJ on the intro for this? He's not on the team anymore, man. He's one of the greatest wide receivers to ever wear blue for the New York Giants. So that's a fact. Shout out to Marjorie for that little nugget right there. All right, Beard, you ready to get off into these quick pick'em games, man, for these other Thanksgiving and this Black Friday game one time?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get right into it, y'all. The Packers at the Lions. Packers are 4-6, surprising 4-6, man, because they have not been playing good football, to be honest. The Lions are 8-2, and that's kind of surprising too. That's a great record, man, coming off the way that the Lions finished last season, and considering the way that they started last season. I believe they were 1-6 or 1-7 to start the year, man, and ended up, getting on a hot streak there towards the end of the year. Last meeting, the Lions beat the Packers 34-20. That one was in Green Bay. Last week, the Packers beat the Chargers, man. The Chargers are on the struggle bus right now, man. They got to find a way to stop teams defensively. And the Lions beat the Bears in a great comeback victory, 31-26. That was 2 scores in the last 3 minutes of that game. The Lions have a chance to win 5 in a row versus Green Bay for the first time since 1954, where they won 11 straight against the Green Bay Packers. Detroit is 8-2 for the first time since 1962 when they won 11 straight games as well. Jordan Love threw for a career-high 322 yards against the Chargers last week, giving the team a 300-yard passer for the first time in nearly 2 seasons. Romeo Doubs definitely been playing some pretty decent football for the fantasy viewers out there. Romeo Doubs has a touchdown catch in 4 of his last 5 games. And Jaden Reed also, he's been playing some great football. Second-round rookie from Michigan State. Shout out to my homie, Frank the Tank, one time. He's got 7 catches of 30 or more yards this season. That's behind only one player in the NFL. That player is Tyreek Hill. So that's definitely great company to be around. And on the flip side of this, for the Detroit Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He has at least 6 receptions. I remember I was trying to pull this stat on the parlay like 2 or 3 weeks back, and I couldn't remember it. But he has 6 receptions in 28 games. Justin Jefferson is the only player in NFL history with more in his first 3 seasons. I remember when people were telling me Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't a top 50 wide receiver in this league. Yeah, dude's definitely a baller. The Packers are giving up 134.7 yards rushing per game. So I think that the game plan here for the Detroit Lions is going to be to commit to Jahmyr Gibbs. I think, that's going to be the difference maker in this game. They allowed 211 rushing yards in the previous matchup versus Detroit. So I could definitely see Detroit just hammering the run in this game. Give me a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going to take the Lions to win this one. I'm going to take the Lions to cover the 8. I'm going to take the over 47.5 strictly off the strength that the Detroit Lions have been putting up a ton of points, and to just keep up, the Packers are going to have to throw the ball a ton, and I think that Jordan Love will probably get the ball in the end zone a couple of times, try to keep it close throughout the third quarter where the Packers will push it to a 2-score lead, and then they'll coast to a victory.
These games are always interesting. It's a little bit of an earlier start than a normal 1 o'clock game, especially, in Detroit, which I believe is Central Time. So, NFC Central matchup, Central Time.
Yeah, what are they? They're 1 hour behind us?
1 hour behind us, I believe. So it's actually like an 11:30 Eastern start for them if your body's on that Eastern time.
Now you got my with the 11:30 Eastern Standard start. Right? Yeah, that was Jesus.
I kind of like Gregory's score a little bit in this game. I'm big on Jaden Reed. He put up some monster points for me last week and on DraftKings. It's always going to be interesting to see now moving forward what this split is going to look like for David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Sam Laporta's kind of been a little quiet the last couple of weeks. I like to see him bounce back. It's going to be interesting to watch Jared Goff. 3 interceptions last week, so we'll see how he bounces back. I think, this game's going to be close. At times it might look like it's going to be running away by the Lions, but I think I'm going to take the Packers to cover, and we're going to go under. I like Gregory's score, 27-20 Lions over Packers.
I like this little nugget here from Monique. Interesting story about Amon-Ra St. Brown. His dad added the Saint because he knew his boys would be great and thought that would. That's awesome. That's definitely awesome. And both of them have been thriving a little bit. I know the Equanimous, what a name. Equanimous. Yeah. That's a fire name. I don't know if he's been thriving as much in Chicago, but I'm sure getting Justin Fields back is definitely going to help the situation here. I think this game's going to be a lot like the Cowboys matchup was last week against the Carolina Panthers, like where, at half you might have a 1-score lead, 17-10 type of vibe, and then, they push away with a couple of mistakes from the Green Bay Packers in the second half. Let's get off into this next one here. This is going to be the 49ers headed to Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks are 6-4. This is a very important game for the Seattle Seahawks with the 49ers sitting at 7-3. This is going to be the night game tonight at 8:20. The 49ers are favored by 7 in this one from what I saw. The over-under is 44.5. Last meeting, the 49ers beat the Seahawks 41-23 in the NFC wildcard game. That game was really close throughout the first 2 to 3 quarters, and then the 49ers kind of pushed away late in that game with a couple of mistakes from Geno Smith and getting pressure on Geno Smith as well. Last week, the 49ers beat the Buccaneers 27-14. The Seahawks lost to the Rams. Seahawks just can't get right versus the Rams. They lost to them 17-16. The Niners won all 3 matchups last season. The Seahawks had won 5 of the previous 6 before that. So I think this one presents a really interesting matchup. San Francisco is 2-1 in Thanksgiving games, but hasn't won one since 1972 at Dallas. The 49ers have won 9 straight regular season games against NFC West opponents. That does not yield well for the Seattle Seahawks. The 49ers lead the NFL with 14 interceptions and are tied for second with 19 takeaways on the year. The 49ers, and I remember this statistic was a 70-yard rusher for a long time, but the 49ers haven't allowed a player to rush for at least 100 yards in 37 straight games, man. That's just incredible for that defense. Zach Charbonnet could be asked to carry a big load with Kenneth Walker, expected to miss this game with an oblique injury, but going up against that 49ers defense is not going to be a good look. And also, edge rusher Boye Mafe had his streak of 7 straight games come to an end last week. That's unfortunate for him. He was playing great football. I'm sure he still is, but couldn't get to the quarterback. Geno Smith has thrown at least 2 touchdown passes in each of his past 3 home games. But, man, I think everything is leaning towards the San Francisco 49ers in this game. And the Seahawks lead the NFL. You talking about the Cowboys shooting themselves in the foot. They lead the NFL in penalties with 76 penalties on the year. Christian McCaffrey leads the NFL with 14 touchdowns this season for the most ever by any 49ers player ever. That is crazy because the 49ers have had some dogs on that team. Now, I'm about to give a bunch of flowers for a guy that you definitely did not have faith in entering this season.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm going to give a bunch of flowers for Mr. Irrelevant himself. I wouldn't even spend this much time on a pick'em game, but there were so many interesting nuggets about this game when I went to go do a little bit of research on this one. Brock Purdy, he's coming off one of the most productive 2-game stretches in NFL history right now. In his last 2 games, he's 40 of 51, bro. 40 of 51 for 629 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a passer rating of 157.3.
To bounce back after those games, too.
That's not bouncing back,
thing.
bro. That is the best 2-game stretch we've ever seen in the NFL in the history of the game. There has never been a quarterback to go on a better 2-game stretch than that. Purdy is the first player to have a passer rating of at least 145 or more in 2 straight games since Drew Brees. Joe Montana is the only 49ers quarterback to have a perfect passer rating in a game with at least 15 passing attempts. Brock Purdy, congratulations. You are joining some great company in who I used to consider the GOAT at the quarterback position until it just became undeniable when Tom Brady won all those Super Bowls. Man, I still feel like Joe Montana was the GOAT. I still feel like it, but you just cannot deny Tom Brady. But those are some flowers for Mr. Irrelevant because Brock Purdy, I told y'all like week 2, I've been looking at Brock Purdy's tape all from last season. One of the better anticipatory throwers in the NFL. Gets rid of the ball quick. Can throw off platform. Has a little bit of mobility to his game. He has weaker arm strength, but it reminds me of Tua. With the weaker arm strength, he makes up for it by anticipating and throwing where guys are going to be, not where guys are at. So shout out to Brock Purdy, man, playing a great stretch. I think he's going to continue to add to those 2 games. Give me the 49ers in this game. I think the 49ers are going to cover. I'm going to take the over. I think Brock Purdy, primetime game, night game here, Brock Purdy's going to put up 3 touchdowns in this game. Give me the 49ers to win this one. I'm going to say we got to go for the over. I'm going to say 34-19 49ers.
Whew. All right, Geno Smith is banged up too. They say he's gonna play. There was some talk that he might not play, but it looks like he's going to play. Obviously, no Kenneth Walker. You talked about that San Francisco run defense. I like Charbonnet though. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think they're gonna have to do a lot of that. I think they're gonna have to get a lot of passing to the running backs out of the backfield. You might even see some DJ Dallas action out of the backfield for the Seattle Seahawks, who's also more than capable of catching the ball out of the backfield and producing big plays. It's tough for me because there was that stretch, I was talking about with San Francisco, and they lost those 3 games in a row. And a lot of people say, every team is injured, but when they got healthy again after those 3 games that they lost, I'm not blaming the injuries or anything, but they look like how they did early on in the season, and it's just super difficult. I know this is a divisional game. It is in Seattle, Thanksgiving night. If Geno was fully healthy, if Kenneth Walker was playing, I might think about, the Seahawks getting closer. But I too I think San Francisco is clicking, firing on all cylinders right now. Brandon Ayuk has had a phenomenal year. He's capitalizing off of the back end stretch of last season. A lot of people forget that he was in a doghouse for a while when he was in San Francisco at the end of his rookie campaign and into the beginning of the next year. And to see him flourishing, I think it's fantastic. It's great to have an extra guy with all those weapons around you. Debo, Kittle, CMC, so I like San Francisco to win this game. I think they also are going to cover. Over, under. I'm going to take the under, just barely under. I think Seattle actually struggles to put up a lot of points in this game, but I'm going to take San Francisco to win, cover, and I'm going to take the under, just barely. And did want to give a big shout out to our guy, Lax for the $4.99 super chat. Just happy Thanksgiving to everyone here. I hope everyone hits their parlays and gets a ton of fantasy points. Big shout out to Lax. We appreciate the love and appreciate the support. Also, Lax the $4.99 super chat says, need some advice. Ramondre Stevenson, Tyson Chandler, and Jahan Dotson.
Ooh, and you got to play two? Good God.
I guess you got to go Dotson and Stevenson. If you're in that bad of a situation right now, just play the two guys that you know, or at least are going to be playing and getting a commanding amount of touches or targets. I mean, Jahan Dotson doesn't necessarily get the touches at times, more times than not. He does not, but he is playing, and he is playing every down. So I think you go Stevenson and Dotson.
This is what I think you do, Lax. I think you take 3 little pieces of paper and write down Ramondre Stevenson, Ty Chandler, Jahan Dotson, ball them up, put them in a hat, pick 2 names, and there you go. Because that's tough, bro. I feel you, though, man. My fantasy looking crazy right now. I got to keep it real with you.
Big shout out to ENA. We got time with a 9999 super chat. Says, what's up, fellas? Sorry I'm late. Is how anytime interception lock of the day? I don't know about lock of the day, but I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
Going against this defense.
What, if it's not the lock of the day, what is?
CeeDee Lamb over 6 catches. CeeDee Lamb over 75 yards.
This one's not going to age well. I got a feeling this was not going to age well. Because I got a feeling that the Cowboys are going to just be blowing y'all out by the third quarter. A lot of Tony Pollard. What's my dude? Rico Dowdle. Shout out Rico. What a name. Just sound like a running back. Rico Dowdle. Tough runner. I love those smaller running backs that
run tough. He's a little banged up too.
Yeah, I'd go with the Howell anytime interception lock over CD over 6.
It's pretty much it should be a lock of the day, given the fact
I'm telling y'all, the worse the Commanders get, the worse he gets. It's crazy.
I don't understand what's so bad about what I said.
It's crazy. He's like 6 receptions for CeeDee Lamb over Sam Howell interception. How many games has Sam Howell not thrown an interception? Like 3?
If that.
It's kind of crazy. We got to get that ironed out, man. We got to get these problems in Washington fixed out, man. I think I could do a better job coaching the Washington Commanders than Ron Rivera. It's about time. It's about time we cut the legs out from underneath the table of Ron Rivera here.
Yeah, I can't defend Ron Rivera. That I cannot do. He's a great guy, though.
He's a great guy. He's definitely a great guy.
You know, wish him nothing but the best, but.
Wish him nothing but the best. That's a way to say, man, you ain't doing your job well, bro. It's not personal. All right, let's get into this Dolphins-Jets one right here one time, man. So the Dolphins are sitting at 7-3. Jets are sitting at 4-6. The Dolphins are favored by 9.5. Over-under is 40.5 in this one. Last meeting, the Dolphins beat the Jets 11-6. Now, that is ridiculous. That can't be right. Last week, the Dolphins beat the Raiders 20-13, and the Jets lost to the Bills 32-6, man. Got mollywopped in that game. This is the NFL's first game on Black Friday. The Dolphins have won 5 of the past 6 meetings and 9 of the past 11 versus the Jets. A victory would give Miami an 8-3 start in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 2000. That is a long time ago. The Jets are looking to snap their second 3-game losing streak of the season. Tim Boyle, the 29-year-old backup, he's getting a start today, makes his 4th NFL start and his first with the Jets He's going to be replacing Zach Attack, who's back on that damn bench. Boyle will become the 16th quarterback to start for the Jets since the Brett Favre failed kind of cameo thing that happened in 2008. Boyle is 0-3 as a starter right now. The Jets have used 13 different offensive line combinations in 10 games. That don't make no sense. It's the fourth most in the NFL. That don't make no sense. I don't even understand how it's the fourth most, not the most in the NFL. I'm sure the Giants are lingering around somewhere around there. The Jets were 0 for 11 on third down against the Buffalo Bills last week, dropped them to a league worst 23% on third down throughout this season. Big matchup in this one's going to be Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle versus the Jets. Two cornerbacks, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. Tyreek Hill is just 83 yards away from breaking Julio Jones' record for the most receiving yards in the first 11 games of any season. So that goes to show you how much of a dog Julio Jones actually was.
I talked about it earlier, man.
Right?
I love me some Julio Jones. He was
because
so
Tyreek Hill is
prime.
doing some record-breaking type shit here with the Miami Dolphins. I mean, the amount of yards he's putting up, trying to get to that 2,000 mark and whatnot. You know, he's the record for Julio Jones is 1,305 in 11 games. That's just absolutely ridiculous. And Hill also needs just one touchdown to become the first Dolphins player since Mike Wallace in 2014 to have double-digit receiving touchdowns in a season. The Jets haven't allowed a 300-yard passer in 28 straight games. That statistic is very similar to the San Francisco statistic of not allowing a 100-yard rusher for 37 straight games. Raheem Mostert leads the NFL right now with a career-high 11 touchdowns. So I think this is going to be maybe an RTDB type of game plan from the Dolphins in this one, although I do think you'll see some passing. I mean, you got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. You definitely got to get some passing, but I think it's going to all start with the run. Give me the Miami Dolphins in this game. We'll see what Boyle does at quarterback. I'm going to keep my eyes on this one because I want to see the improvement. Like, Zach Wilson has played pretty awful football. Now you bring in a guy who's a journeyman, almost 30-year-old quarterback coming out here, and I want to see how better will that yield for the New York Jets offense, who are trying to get Aaron Rodgers back at some point and maybe try to make a playoff push. But they're running out of time here, man. Sitting at 4-6, you got to win some games here. They're on the outside looking in as well, just like the Buffalo Bills. So give me the Dolphins in this one. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I really don't. I think the Dolphins will bounce back, get their offense back in momentum. Give me the Dolphins. I'll say 27. I'll get a Jets one touchdown. I'm going to go 27-13.
Oh, man. And Zach Wilson's not even just a backup. They bumped him all the way down to third string. Trevor Siemian is the backup. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Trevor Siemian in this game also at some point. Just the way Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian, like, you guys are telling me you guys don't have any better options than those two jabronis. I don't understand what the Jets are doing. It's frustrating.
I think they should have went out there and got Flacco. Flacco just signed a new contract with the Browns. He's familiar at least with the locker room over there. I think he is. Didn't he play underneath the Hackett system No. Or did they bring Hackett over this year?
They brought Hackett over this year because he was fired from the Broncos as the head coach last year.
Right. So he's not familiar with the Hackett system, but he is familiar with the locker room over there. So maybe that's a good reason for not bringing him over.
It's tough, man, because they got some talent on that team, man. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, so
that's it, right? The list stops there.
Well, I mean, offensively,
I do think that they're a little bit. They remind me of y'all a little bit, where it's like it's a little bit inflated. Like the talent is like overvalued over there. Garrett Wilson is a dog, but then you got like Randall Cobb and like
Alan Lazard. Listen, you got all those guys over there because you were running the Aaron Rodgers train. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the free agency wide receiver market, there wasn't much out there.
No, there wasn't.
I'm telling you, I know teams are regretting not making this move, man. Adam Thielen. That dude, I know teams are regretting that one.
You know what got him in Carolina, right? Andy Dalton. It was Andy Dalton who was able to get Adam Thielen over to Carolina. It was one of the main reasons why he went.
Have they played together at all yet? Like, before he got over there to Carolina, or was it just no OG type of thing? Like, I know a good OG.
Adam Thielen's been with Minnesota his whole career up to this point, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So
that's true.
It's gonna be tough for the Jets. I like the Dolphins in this game. I like the Dolphins to cover. I don't even know if they can get to 40 points. I think this is gonna be like a 27-9 sort of game for the Miami Dolphins victory.
Yeah, I like that score. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Big shout out to the gang, man. We appreciate all of y'all pulling up, rocking out with us on this Thanksgiving edition of Awthentik and the Beard, man, the best division in football. Hope all of y'all enjoy y'all time with your family today. Get your grub on, your firsts, your seconds, your thirds. Watch another football game. Go get a little dessert. You know, I'm looking forward to the dessert. I'm looking forward. What's your favorite dish for Thanksgiving?
Well, listen, I go to the Dominican Thanksgiving, so for me, it's the pig, man. They've been working on that pig since
The
yesterday.
pig, is that the pernil? The pernil?
Just pork, just
It's
piles
just
of
pork. I'm looking for the Latin way to say it, man.
I know. They
Goofy
call it
Caucasian
different
American.
things.
It's pork. Ask Josie what it is so I can know, because I know with the Bolivians it's the pernil that they cook up. I believe that's like the shoulder, the pig shoulder. And whatnot.
Yeah, the pig shoulder. They're just like a whole pig.
Oh, dude. So this is like you remember in Friday the 13th on the table with the pig and whatnot. This
Not
is
like
those kind
that.
of vibes.
Not like that. No,
He still got the head on the pig and whatnot. For me, man, it's the macaroni and cheese, man.
Yeah,
and
I've
I've heard
love
some
good
people
mac
on
and
Twitter
cheese.
talking about they don't like macaroni and cheese. I'm like, bro, what kind of pack are you smoking? Because that's wild. Y'all probably the same people that's putting green beans in the casserole and green beans in the baked ziti and stuff like that. Nah, that's not the vibes. I'm going for the macaroni and cheese, and I'm going straight for the turkey with the gravy, bro.
And listen, I love me. I'm a biscuit and rolls. I love biscuit and rolls on Thanksgiving. It's just that nice little buffer, nice little clean the plate at the end after you got all the
Is that
gravy.
what you do? Do you use the biscuit to clean your plate?
Hell yeah.
You're a savage, bro.
That's what you're supposed to do.
You're an absolute
Clean
savage.
plate crew, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Do you mix all your food up?
Nah, no, I don't necessarily mix it up. Let me tell you, at leftovers, I'm a very mixy guy. Take dressing, stuffing, and just kind of put it all together, whip it up, and slap it on a biscuit with some mayonnaise. Yeah.
Oh, Jamar's in the building. Jamar says it's called lechon.
Okay.
He said it's fire too. I see a lot of people sending out happy Thanksgiving to Jay Jean, Sebastian. Salute to all of y'all, man.
Yes.
Appreciate all y'all pulling up, rocking out with us. Y'all knew we was gonna have to do a show today. That's how we do. But man, that's gonna be a wrap on this one. We'll see how my New York Giants fare against the Patriots. Maybe, just maybe, they can keep this season halfway alive. I'm not mad either way, man. Look, Joe Shane got to go out here and get us a quarterback no matter what happens. That's how I'm looking at it, man. And, your Commanders got to take on these Dallas Cowboys at 4 o'clock. That's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to, that's probably going to be right in the middle of my first plate. Get to sit down, watch y'all get y'all teeth kicked in by the Dallas Cowboys. It's definitely going to be a good one. Lax said, I'm a sides guy. Turkey is my least favorite part. Green bean casserole is fire, though, Awthentik. Nah, I don't get down with the green bean casserole, Lax. I feel you, though, man. Do your thing. Don't put no peas in that thing. You know what I'm saying? Don't ruin it with nothing too crazy. You know, they
Green
put the peas
beans
in the
with-
mashed potatoes and stuff. I be
Green
like, bro,
beans with bacon fat, though. That's where it's at.
the bacon fat, though.
Yeah, cook the green beans in the bacon fat.
Oh, cooking it in there. Okay, all right. I thought you was talking about actually putting some
You don't
bacon
just
fat.
wipe it on there. No, you gotta cook it in the bacon fat.
I don't trust anything the Beard says. This dude used to go to McDonald's and he would say, "Yeah, can I get?" Let me do it the right way. He would say, "May I please have?" Because every time he orders, he says, "May I please have?" He'd be like, "May I please have 2 McDoubles with extra, 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 extra mayonnaise?" And I'm not slicing it, y'all. He literally would say 4 extra, 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 extras. Dog, I get my McDoubles with light mayo and light lettuce on them.
Hey.
And when they give me the normal goop of mayonnaise, I'm like, bro, what the hell is y'all? Why y'all messing up my dog? This is why I need to start going to Burger King so I can have it your way. You know what I'm saying? Because McDonald's definitely been slumming. But today, we definitely not vibing out with McDonald's. We're gonna vibe out with some good plates. Y'all make sure, check your family, check on your loved ones. Enjoy today. Be grateful. We're grateful to have all of y'all be a part of this community, man. We now 5 years in. We appreciate all of y'all pulling up, rocking out with us 4 days a week. We got day ones, we got day twos, we got new people in the building. Anybody who's not familiar with us over here at Awthentik and the Beard, we stream 4 days a week. All of y'all that have been pulling up, rocking out with the Bleacher Report streams, y'all don't even got to do that, man. We are definitely grateful for all of y'all. So today, make sure you enjoy your time with your loved ones, enjoy your Thanksgiving, eat good, and no better way to have Thanksgiving than with some NFC East football, man. That is definitely what's good, man. So y'all know how we end every show over here, man. Keep raising the bar. Keep living those dreams because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, Combat Jack himself. And that's a wrap for Zach, and for this show, man. Y'all be good. Enjoy y'all holiday. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.